Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Chambers Academy Sports Live Coaches Show with Coach Jason Allen, brought to you by Farmers and Merchants Bank. We're here at Monte Alban 3 on the north side of Lafayette. We're happy to be here. We really appreciate all the kindness and the good deeds done by Luis and Roxana to have us here. As usual, my partner Chester Carter is here. Chester, it's good to be back.
Sid, it is. We had a week off for the bye. Everybody got rested up, and we are back ready for some football on homecoming week here in Lafayette with Chambers Academy. So it should be it's already a busy week here. Yep. All the kids are in some serious homecoming activities and a lot of activities going on around town. So it's going to be a wild and crazy day and even into this weekend.
I feel like we haven't been here for about a month.
Yep.
And I had to go back and watch some football film just to get back in the spirit of today. I went back and watched a little Bessemer game. So we'll get into an awful lot of that. I'll tell you, it's good to be here, and we're going to do the normal show tonight. We're going to have 4 segments. It'll be a little different because we have had this bye week. We'll have much more time for conversation on some stats, kind of get us where we are at this point in the year review. And we'll talk with Coach Allen, we'll talk with Coach Dillon, we'll talk with Coach Kyle. So we have 3 coaches to talk to tonight. It'll be a fun night to get some questions out to those guys. And as usual, we'll do our brief opening session here. We'll talk about the regions, some non-region games that are going on. Then we'll talk to our 3 coaches. We'll come back and we'll do a little bit of a recap of tonight's show and kind of put a fine point on what we expect tomorrow night and what we might be thinking about for the rest of the year, not to get ourselves too far in the lead. We'll also recap our players of the game and our impact player from last week. So we got a lot to do here in a few minutes, and once we get started, we'll get into the meaty and the nitty-gritty part of the show. We'll talk about Chambers Academy football so far.
Yeah, before we get there, we also want to congratulate the Lady Rebels,
Absolutely,
who had a great game this afternoon up against Springwood, and the junior varsity and varsity won in straight sets. So congratulations to those ladies. Did a wonderful job out there representing the school. So it was good
Absolutely
to have a victory at home for the Lady Rebel volleyball team.
Congratulations to the ladies. It was a great big win, and we're really happy for them. I know they're playing hard. They're trying to get better every week, and it's very nice to have them on the winning side today.
Yep. So, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back with you here for the first segment here, and we'll go over some stats. DTA, Daniel Towing and Automotive. Need a tow? Need some mechanical work? Contact Lee and Sandy Daniel at 334-863-4252. Serving East Alabama and West Georgia. You call, we haul. DTA, Daniel Towing and Automotive. Proud supporters of Rebel Athletics. DTA Towing.
Craving some Mexican food? Do not think about it twice. Come visit us at Monteman number 3, located on Highway 77, 1310 Highway 77, Lafayette, Alabama. We have the best Mexican food around. Cheese dip, quesadillas, farmer special, north specials, sherry specials, delicious salsa, the best salsa in Chambers County. Do not think about it. And also can meet the Chihuahua, Monteman number 3.
All right, folks, and welcome back here to the Chambers Academy Sports Live Coaches Show with Jason Allen, brought to you by Farmers and Merchants Bank. This section here, Sid, we're going to get into some numbers about the game we just played before the bye. That was the Bessemer game here at home. First, it was great to be back at home and playing ball and take out a 3A team like Bessemer, big, strong kids. So Chambers came out and just started heavy on the first kickoff. Was taken back by a that terrible play that's so deflating for the special teams.
It was a huge run back. I mean, just gone instantly. Jacob got a seam up the middle and he broke it back to the press box side, and I knew when he crossed the 50 and nobody was going to touch him. He was just gone. He was his speed really came through there, and he made good determined run through that way, but I'm not sure anybody laid a hand on him on the kickoff.
Somebody laid a hand on somebody because it got brought back. And then, so
Well, that's an excellent point.
somebody, there's a hand somewhere it shouldn't have been there. The officials saw, so they brought it back, but hey, it was no issue there. Henry took it up for an 85-yard touchdown on the first offensive series there for CA. And they never really looked back or took their foot off the throttle. They came in there and kept just pumping the points on. Huge second quarter, and at halftime, the Rebels were up 38-3, and then the final score for the game was 45-10. So big win for the Rebels here at home. To start this nice homestand we got coming up, it's great to be back here with the friendly fans at Torbert Allen Field. Just a great environment down there. If you haven't experienced it, you need to come down on a Friday night.
You made mention in the film, I went back and looked at the game today, you made mention how big the crowd was, and it was gigantic. I mean, we had a really big crowd, parking everywhere, people all over the place, and it's just such a good thing to have folks come out after we've been on the road for 3 weeks and have them show up like that and really create that atmosphere. It's not so much a hostile fan atmosphere, but it is kind of intimidating.
It's electric.
It's intimidating for the guys unloading in the other team. And you talk about that opening play. Kickoff comes back, and then we get the ball to Corrine, and he's gone. I mean, it's just like 2 plays, and I mentioned on the tape. Last week the week before we had a long bomb thrown against us. This week we run a kickoff back. I mean, we have seen some huge big runs, and it just shows you what this team is. This team has explosive offensive potential all the time.
Yep, and a sense of calmness, too. No one was really fretting about the penalty. They went back, got to business, and, hey, right there scored on the first offensive series. And some impressive stats on the offensive side of the ball. The Rebels put up 550 total yards of offense. They had 180 yards passing from Cole Baker and 2 touchdowns. The rushing attack came in with 367 yards. Luke Tarver was the lead rusher with 10 carries, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 two-point conversions. Jacob Norgard was right behind him with 8 carries, 82 yards, and 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions. So a very impressive showing by the offense.
Well, and
nice balance too.
The thing about it is and we're getting a little bit repetitive because our guys are playing so consistently. I think we won the line of the scrimmage midway of the first quarter. I kind of felt that momentum on the line start to shift. We began to take real control of both sides of the ball. But if you think back to some of the runs that went on, it was really impressive to see all our guys come out and get the extra yards. I mean, if we saw Luke get hit in the backfield a couple of times and wind up rushing for 7 or 8 yards. Saw Norgard do the same thing, and Eli popping it right up the middle, doing the same exact thing of putting punishment on defensive players who are coming up trying to hit them. And what a beautiful thing to see Cole and Corrine hook up on that long pass. That was just it was amazing toward the end of the first half.
Yeah, and that's something, if we need to start tracking, yards after contact, because the Rebels are just exploding in that category. We need to start tracking that a little bit better. But you are right, amazing how some of the, plays look like they're blowing up, but the kids find a way to get the seams and get some positive yards at it, and they're always running downhill. So it's a great thing to watch. That's what I'm saying. Tomorrow night will be fun. You see, everybody needs to come on out to Torbert Allen Field and hang out with us.
Absolutely. And one of the things I was just thinking about in my mind as we were talking about that, I think Coach Allen mentioned this in the interview after the game Friday night. We were talking about how Bessemer started cheating a guy over, trying to cut us off on that corner. So they're moving a guy down. And what that means is it puts Corrine over there by himself. And I wouldn't want to be in that position.
No.
And you saw the result of it. He's 15 yards behind the defensive back, and it's just an easy pitch and catch. And it was a really nice play, and it just fit with the offensive flow in my mind of the whole night. The offense was really clicking. Our guys, we were just blocking people off the line of scrimmage. It was a really big night for the offense.
Yep. And on the defensive side of the ball, you mentioned Eli a second ago. He was on the defensive side of the ball. He led the defense with 7 tackles. Drew Shepard, Parker Otto, T.J. Daniel, Luke Tarver came in with 4 tackles. Ryan Smith, T.J. Daniel, Drew Shepard as well had at least 1 sack. They were up in the backfield just wreaking havoc all night long.
Well, if you looked at that film again and you saw, I think maybe the first series, it could have been the second series, Luke comes up and just smacks a guy. I mean, he met him about a yard deep, and the guy goes down like a bag of rocks. I mean, it was over. And that kind of set the tone on the defensive side for me, and it just never let up. Linebackers are playing really fierce, bringing it in the middle and coming in quick. I thought TJ made a couple of real nice plays in the first quarter to keep first downs away, knocking guys down that got outside really quick. There's one pass that he was right on the guy and took him down immediately. So, everybody's playing well. And I noticed, and we'll talk about this with some of the coaches, we see more and more play by Parker Otto. He's coming in and getting some playing time on that defensive side early and often in that game, and it's good to see him play well.
Yeah, so right now we're going to let you know where the Rebels stand at so far in the season. Year to date, they're 5-1. They're 1-0 in the region. The offense is averaging 40 points a game, and their defense is only giving up a little over 11 points a game. That's a great recipe for success.
I think you should throw out our year stats that you just gave me a few minutes ago, the offensive points for and points against. That's an interesting number.
Yes, that's over here.
Points for 245.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
240. Yeah, sorry about that.
It's just amazing to me if you look at this. If you look at how unbalanced that number is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, we're going to 68 points for the entire year.
Yeah.
So that's an incredible number to me. And this defense really, I think the defense is getting better. I'm real interested in talking to the coaches about, this layoff. We come off probably playing as well as I can remember us playing in any recent period. I'd be interested to hear what they say about how we keep that edge and kind of come out tomorrow night and play as well as we did out of last week.
Yeah, that's a huge task for those coaches to keep the kids focused.
Absolutely.
And some other, year-to-date stats for their running backs because they're lighting the scoreboard up. Luke Tarver, 74 carries, 735 yards just year-to-date. Some kids would be happy that for a whole year of stats. 12 touchdowns. He's right at 10 yards a touch. Every time he touches, it's going to be 10 yards.
And he missed a game.
And he did miss a game. That's right.
And
then Jacob Norgard's right there behind him, very close. He came in with 61 carries and 669 yards, 12 touchdowns as well, and he's averaging about 11 yards a touch. Yeah. So, I mean, even if you don't have any planes, to go out there, you've got some positive yards, but just handing off to one of those guys, you're going to get first down. So,
well, what I see in my mind, just thinking about the offense, you got your quarterback running the setup. He is really doing the right job of generalmanship there, getting the play set, getting the ball to the right people. You've got Luke, you've got Jacob, and you got Eli really hitting the line of scrimmage hard. Then you bring that swing with Corrine in it, and it's just like it's force, speed and force. So it's just a hard thing, I think, for a defense to get their hands around. It's been amazing, and that all comes from great job of the guards pulling, great job of the center handling the ball, and tackles are just killing people on the line. It's a real offensive team effort right now.
Yeah, Luke and Jake would be the first to tell you, they wouldn't have those stats if it wasn't for that incredible O-line up there working together, taking folks off the ball and making just holes that you can just drive a Cadillac through.
Now, I don't want to sound like a homer, but I do want to break this point up. In the game last week, there's a play that was in the end of the half where Jacob was called down on the 4-yard line for a long run, really running through several guys. I looked at that film. I ran it back 5 or 6 times. He never touched the ground. He never put the ball on the ground and fell into the end zone. It was just a missed call there on that one. And I was interested when I talked to him, and he goes, I know. I already know. You would expect that.
Yeah, that's right. So, hey, we want to also restate that, Jacob Norgard was the offensive player of the game. We spoke to him after the game there last Friday, and they're in the field house. And the defensive player of the game was Luke Tarver. Both of those guys played lights out. And our impact player was Blake Reeves, center on the O-line. He has come in well here, first year at Chambers, and he has just formed in with the guys, and they are clicking on all cylinders.
Had a big night Friday night, in my opinion. He played really well.
Yeah. So we're going to look real quick into tomorrow night's matchup. Homecoming here at Chambers Academy. Week 7 matchup here is with Abbeville Generals. The Generals are 1-5 overall on the year, 0-2 in the region. They're in last place in 2A Region 1, which is our region. They're coming off, though, their first win of the year, 24-22 over 1A Sparta. The Abbeville offense is barely putting up 2 touchdowns a game on average. The defense is giving up close to 40 points a game every time they hit the field, and that's what we're averaging. Yeah. So it could be a shootout tomorrow, and we'll check this, clock keeper, make sure he's okay.
It's just one of those games that you think about. It really, as we sit here tonight, it's a mismatch. When you look at numbers, it's a mismatch. But, they don't play the game with numbers. You got to go up there and line up and get your cleats in the dirt and play the game. So I fully expect us to be ready. I expect them to come up and want to play. I mean, I really do. We've got a former coach coaching Abbeville now. There's nothing he'd like better than come up here at homecoming and make a good showing or get a win. I don't think they can do that. I think we will handle Abbeville tomorrow night. But, it's just we still have to go out and we still have to execute and we have to play. And that's what I want to see from our guys early. I would like for us to really get off to that quick early start and get ourselves right back in the rhythm we left a couple weeks ago.
Yep, and overall CA leads the series with Abbeville, 16 wins to 11. And last year, when you went down to Abbeville, I wasn't able to make that game. They won 56-7, and the previous time we played them, they forfeited because of COVID.
Right.
So the Rebels have the past couple victories in their back pocket going into tomorrow night's game. And the one thing they do have a common opponent, between us and Abbeville is Edgewood, and Abbeville was shut out at home by Edgewood. So just trying to give you a little bit of information there, who we've played in the past together. And we also want to give you a standing of where the Rebels are at in Region 2A, 2A Region 1.
Right, Region 1.
And Hooper right now is in first place. They've had 2 wins in the region. We're in second because we've only had one game, and we're 1-0. Third is Edgewood. They're 1-1. Macon East is in fourth place. They're 0-1 in the region, and Abbeville's pulling up the rear with 0-2. I mean, as we look down the schedule there a little bit tomorrow, we said we have Abbeville here for homecoming. Mm-hmm. Then we have Macon East here at home. Macon East is 0-1 in the region. And then the game I've been circling on the calendar has been that Hooper game. If Hooper can get through their next couple of games, it should be an exciting matchup down there in Hope Hall when we travel down there for our last road game of the season.
You mentioned that at our first home game, the second game of the year. You mentioned, as we were talking in some prep about the season, that Edgewood might be a game. Hooper might be a game that we wanted to talk about. We'll see more after certainly the next 2 weeks.
Yes.
But obviously they're in first place at 2-0. I think we're a better team, and I think we will come into that matchup with in really good shape in the region. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think we'll be in good shape in the region.
And then we finish off the regular home season with Glenwood, a non-region game here at home. So
absolutely,
we're going to get deep into region action the next couple weeks. So it's going to be an exciting time around the CA facilities and everything. We're glad to be at home. We've been on the road early in the season, so it's nice fall weather out there, football weather. So come on out and support the Rebels at home. So
one more road game, that one trip to Hooper, and then hopefully we'll be playing a first and second round playoff game at home.
Yep.
And we'll play away for some important stuff.
That's right. So it's a busy day here in Lafayette. We got the food trucks downtown. We have volleyball going on. So we appreciate the fans coming out here today to Monte Alban to talk some football with the coaches. And we also want to thank Monte Alban.
Absolutely.
With Luis and Roxana. They're always so nice to host us up here. Farmers and Merchants Bank for always taking care of us and sponsoring us. We also want to thank Taffney Nelson.
Absolutely.
She does all the game day posters, and she does a lot of designs for us. She's incredible out there. And 2-3 Collective, Chris Strength, they set up with all of this backdrop and tablecloth here. So much appreciated.
We appreciate all our sponsors, and these guys do an awful lot of work, and it's mostly behind the scene. That's it. We sit here in front of the camera, but these guys do an awful lot of work, and I'm very happy to always mention them because we really truly do appreciate them an awful lot.
Yeah. So hey, we're gonna bring in Coach Kyle, and then we'll bring Coach Dylan in, and then Jason, and so we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll come back to you with Coach Kyle. Farmers and Merchants Bank, established in 1934, is your friendly hometown bank. With 3 convenient locations in Dadeville, Hughley, and beautiful Lafayette, Alabama, Farmers and Merchants is ready to serve your personal and business banking needs. Great rates, great service. Farmers and Merchants is ready to serve. Give them a call at 334-864-9941.
Craving some Mexican food? Do not think about it twice. Come visit us at Moneman number 3, located Highway 77, 1310 Highway 77, Lafayette, Alabama. We have the best Mexican food around. Cheese dip, quesadillas, farmer specials, north specials, sherry specials, delicious salsa, the best salsa in Chambers County. not think about it. And also can meet the Chihuahua. Chihuahua. Moneba number 3.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. We're here at Monte Alban 3 with the Chambers Academy Sports Live Coaches Show with Coach Jason Allen and Coach Kyle Jackson here tonight as our first coach to come out to get some really interesting questions. I'm sure, Coach, you must really look forward to having these questions from Chester and I every time you're here.
I do. It's fun.
Well, we've missed you the past couple of times. Glad you can make it.
Been super busy like always.
I hear
Glad
you.
to come out tonight.
And we understand that, and you are busy. You got a lot of stuff going on. You and I have talked after a board meeting recently. We talked about that whole concept, and I'm trying to get my mind around the offensive line play more and more. And we talked about how and when and what the rules and your setup are when you pull versus one guard versus a two guard. And we're talking about the line movement on a trap play versus that. I guess it's the buck sweep or it's the big run outside. Just restate the thing that we were talking about. I asked you the question about, do you pull one guard for one and two guard for the other?
So sure. So if we're going to run the buck sweep, we're always going to pull two guards. There's a lot of some people with the shotgun wing tee, they'll just pull one guard according to the way the defensive lined up. We're always going to pull two guards.
Is it the off guard in that situation?
It would be the backside
Okay,
guard.
backside guard.
Yeah. So, but we're always going to pull two guards, and we work the rest of it out. We'll block them some other way. So you're always going to get the kick out with the first guard, turn up from the backside guard, and you're going to kick out the first thing past the down block of the wing back.
Okay.
So it can be, when I played, it was always a corner. So you always had a guard on a corner.
Okay.
And but now with the different defenses that people run, a lot of times it's a safety or an outside linebacker.
Right.
And so we set different drills up to work on that. Y'all probably, if you come out and watch practice, we got those red balls.
Right.
That's what that is. So and then the backside, of course, the backside guard, he's the turn up. And that's what we want the running back to follow.
Let me ask you this. On let's say it's the buck sweep, will you line the plug, which is Eli, up on the strong side there? And is that the pull side is what I'm asking?
Yeah, that's the side we're going to most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's getting a down block there. Now
All right, heel down block two. So you got three guys who are going to be moving to block key people to get that started. And
That's
open.
right.
Okay.
They're going to crash all that down. Then we're going to kick out something on the edge and turn it up. And it's a buck sweep, but it's really it's not a sideline sweep.
Right.
You've got to turn that buck sweep up.
Right.
And then as far as the trap, now you can pull two guards on the trap, and we call that that's what we call eyes influence. So you'll just pull that front side guard so they think it's the buck sweep.
Okay.
He'll just pull and hit somebody out there.
And will he kick out? Is that his primary job, not to crash in? He'll kick a guy out.
So he'll just kick some guy out. The backside guard, he has so with each play that we run, when we pull a guard, you're going to get different steps for each play. So the buck sweep, the front guard pulls for depth. The backside guard pulls flat, then gets depth. On a trap, he takes what we call it a check mark step. That's our terminology. He's going to step back to get depth and then get back up across the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
To get his head on the right side of whoever we're kicking out.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, it really intrigues me because, I can only think back. I don't analyze a lot of games when I'm just watching, but when we play, we always pulled a guard, but we only pulled one guard. We didn't pull two guards. It's like the offensive game has just moved up so much. And, it's like much more wide open than we just crash the ball, off tackle, off center.
And, we can still do that. We call that, and that's the down in the belly. But we don't run the down a whole lot. We run power. Mm-hmm. And then, if we run the belly, that's the same, that guard pulls the same side of the ball. He's on the same side. We're running the ball that way to his side. So that's a quick pull, and it mirrors the check mark step for the trap. It's just the opposite way.
Okay.
So
it's just an interesting thing to me from watching these guys, and I guess my point about that is when I watch our guards pull, and Chad and I are talking about this a lot during the game, I think we have really excellent guard play because the guys seem to be very athletic, and as the offensive line coach, you must drill early on about the quickness with that first couple steps. I'm sure you focus on that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every year, the first thing we do is when we start doing drills is we get out our little pieces of hose, and we do those steps. And those guys have done that from the time they're in Pee Wee to their senior. They
Right.
know when we start, and everybody does it, not just guards. Centers do it, tackles do it, everybody does it. And that's where we start. And it's just, and we'll go back and refresh on it, off week like this or something like that, and we'll just touch on it a little bit.
So the benefit of that drill is you got everybody that's a lineman who is working really on steps and on quickness and on the correct first move with their feet.
Right. And an interesting little thing, so, we have a lot of success with the jet sweep.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but that was not a play that we ran a lot historically. We ran we probably started running that maybe 2 or 3 years ago, really trying to get successful. Well, we'd always dabbled in that.
Right.
I didn't know how to coach it. We had Coach Greer here. He knew how to. I called him. I said, Coach, you got to. Coach Allen wants to run this. I said, you need to come over here and show me how to teach these guys. I did it in front of all the guys, And so he taught us how to take the bucket step. Well, I'm watching him. My guys don't know what a bucket step is because that's not what we do, right? I said, Coach, that's a check mark step. That's a trap step. He said, show me a trap step. Showed him trap. He said, that's it. So now we're running jet sweep, and everybody's taking a trap step.
So that transition was really more terminology than anything else, and it
Right.
just fit right into your plan.
No, we just didn't know
That's what we
it was.
talk about all the time because I say, well, what do they call that again? I called it something else, and it's
we-
kind of
we
like,
do that.
and I guess you'd have to keep that terminology, kind of in limbo because everybody be catching on to everything.
Right.
So you're just, swapping up the terminology, and it's just interesting. When me and Sid are talking, I call it something. He's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, it's also from where you come from, too.
That's right.
Different parts of the country call them different things. So it is interesting how, when people hear that, they hear somebody say like a sweep or something, or just the terminology with the steps you're talking about. And some people are like, what are you talking about? But it's really a lot of the same thing.
That's
So
right.
it's
And
just-
we go over that in this, early in practice, with new guys and young guys, and I'll just, while we're doing whatever and I'm coaching, I'm telling them, this is what I'm calling this. This is what this is called. Even though we might not use it, but you're going to hear me say it. This is what
Right.
it means, and we just got to get everybody on the same page.
Well, I think it all fits back to the simple fact that this program runs the same thing from kids coming in and being peewees. And I think that, you got that muscle memory, that mental memory, and you're doing the same things at different levels. As you get your skills better, your speed's better, your size is better, those create different challenges, but they are not new, really. They're things that you know what you're supposed to do and you go do them.
That's right.
From a line standpoint, line of play, Blake Reeves was our impact player of the game last week, and I tried to focus a lot in the second quarter on his play in the line. Two things. I thought he played awfully well, just from handling the ball and blocking standpoint. Mm-hmm. The other thing I wanted to ask you about as a coach, he's a new guy to the team this year,
Right.
And tell me about your opinion of how he is fit and how that group has come together.
Well, like you said, he came to us new, and for the first, 3 weeks, I called him center. You know what I mean? So, but he
I
was.
think that's fair.
Yeah, but he was actually getting along, with the guys right off. He just fell right in there, just one of them. You couldn't tell the difference. Great attitude, great kid, and we had a little bit that terminology deal, coming to that, but we got all that worked out quick, and he's just been meshing with them, with everybody in our system and figuring everything out. And I think he's to that point,
Right.
and that's probably why he played so well last week or 2 weeks ago, was because he's got it now.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's a lot more comfortable, and he was playing well before that.
Right. And we talk about this all the time. We are certainly not coaches, and we don't analyze them. We go back and we just look at the games. We play them over and over. And I wanted to look specifically at that interior line blocking, and I did think his play moved up a notch. I thought his confidence, he wasn't not confident. He just seemed to be more fluid and more instinctive, and it almost looked like he was faster. It looked like he was making the block longer and faster. So,
And I think that's to do with him being more comfortable and knowing what he's supposed to do and not being apprehensive and being able to play faster and everything slowed down
Right.
for him.
Well, he's doing an awfully good job, and we appreciate him. He's a good kid, and we enjoy talking to him. Always really, really anxious to talk to us, and gives us everything we need when we're chatting with him. So another one of our really good athletes, good kids to deal with. It's just, to me, from an offensive standpoint, do you have any concern about going back out after a layoff, open week, and getting back to that same rhythm you had?
I mean, yeah, it's in the back of your mind, but that's not what we expect from these kids. That's not what they expect from themselves. I really, truly feel like that we will pick up right where we left off.
Okay.
If we don't, then I'll correct that. But I don't think, these guys, every day in practice, this group is hungry to find somebody to block.
Yeah.
They are playing with their hair on fire to block somebody.
Well, the last thing that I wanted to throw out there, and I'm sorry, Chet, I got
Oh, you're good.
tons of questions here. The one thing that also caught my eye, and it's caught my eye several times, and you and I have talked about it a couple times, when we've run, whether it's a jet sweep, buck sweep, the sweep that we get our guys out and they're gone, whether it's Kareem, whether it's Luke, or whether it's Jacob. I remember checking in and watching guards running with running backs downfield.
That's right.
And making what I call intelligent plays. Because when I played guard, I would have gotten a penalty there. I would have blocked the guy in the back. I would have never come off. And we saw Drew last week do a really good job of getting out front. When the running back gets even with him, he stopped blocking. Because it didn't matter. The play was really over and behind him. So, he was behind the play.
And that's actually something we work on. Because, we don't want to have those penalties.
Right.
That's a not very smart penalty to have.
That's why I told you I would be the one who did that. That's what I meant by
the
that.
guy's gone. But, but that's, that turn-up guard, the backside guard on the buck sweep, whether it's Ryan Ford or Drew, I don't coach any running backs, but I do. While we're doing whatever, I catch a running back, during practice early in the season, I'm like, this is your guard. Get behind him.
Right.
That's what those guards want. They want to, when they get out in open space, they want to feel that running back behind them because they don't know which way he's going to cut.
Right.
And we tell them, I did when I push me into it, push me the way you want me
Right.
to go, and then I know you're gone.
And I think that's something that's been universal since I did play. We had running backs who would literally grab you, and you could feel that tug to kind of almost drag you in one direction or the other. But your two guards, I think Drew and Ryan have done such a good job of getting out and not only just running with great speed and good vision, they are thumping people. It is really, you really don't want to get a face full of these guys on the corner or downfield.
No, they're both physical players, and everybody on the offensive line, the whole team for that matter. We're a physical football
Yeah.
team. Really strong kids.
Actually, a great group. Do you have?
Oh, I was going to ask, you guys talk some great X's and O's there, and it's very informative, especially about the terminology. We talk about that as like confusion a little bit too. But, you guys have got such a powerful O-line right now and D-line. Who are some of the folks that are coming up that, we may label them as a two or something?
Right.
Who are some of those kids that you've got an eye on that are going to be special like the ones you have now?
Well, we got, and I'll just list them, Jacob Bradley, Gabe Bridges, Tyler Popwell, Kent Nelson, the Carlton Melton, and Jonathan Caulfield. And, those are all guys that, have got meaningful play this year. A lot of them have. They've been thrown out there, with it, maybe not an injury, but just, had to have a guy out there, get an equipment fix or something like that. I think a couple of them, maybe one of them did get to start because of injury. I'm not sure, can't remember. But, those guys, they practice every day. They get to do the same reps. They might not get as many first team reps. They get all the drill work. They get, we do work them in there, so they do know what to do and feel comfortable. They do all, they're a lot on the scout team, running the other offense also. And, I go over there with them.
Yeah.
When the defense is practicing, I'll go over there. And, most teams run similar things. Everybody's going to run the power. So when we're blocking the power, I'm coaching it.
Yeah.
Like I tell them, you're a shoelace breaking away from running this play for us, and I don't expect a drop off with any of those guys. And I know I won't get it. 'Cause, they've all been in the system, and they're just next man up.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, your depth is incredible, and with in the development like you guys talk about through the Pee Wee, I know people come and ask me, hey, how do these guys keep filling and reloading? There's always somebody ready to fill in, and it's just the process of you guys going through, starting Pee Wee, doing everything over and over, and repeating things so they can't get it wrong. Right. And it's just that's the way that you guys do stuff, and it's amazing to sit back and watch how you guys put everything together out there. So much appreciate what you do with those young men out there and making them stronger on the field and out here in the community as well.
Thank you.
Well, I think the other thing that's meaningful is, we've had the good fortune to have a lot of what I guess you guys would call twos get meaningful playing time. So you can coach them. You're not running out the clock. You're not just trying to finish off a game. They're going to play a quarter and a half. They're going to play real football time, and you get a chance to coach them. That's got to be valuable.
Oh, it is. It's great. You get it on film. You can go back and see how they do, and it's just tell you what you got coming up and what you can look forward to.
Coach, we really appreciate your time. We have missed you. You're always, of course, welcome back here. We know it's busy, but please join us anytime you can on Thursday night. Congratulations. I think your offensive line is doing a great job. I think the entire coaching staff is doing a great job, and I really look forward to us coming out tomorrow night and playing our normal CA football. We're going to play whatever they always say. Whoever they bring up, whatever scheme they play, we're going to play. We're going to play them strong. So we'll set up here and have Coach Dillon come in and talk with us, and we're going to take a break and hear a word from our sponsors.
Craving some Mexican food? Do not think about it twice. Come visit us at Moneman number 3, located Highway 77, 1310 Highway 77, Lafayette, Alabama. We have the best Mexican food around. Cheese dip, quesadillas, farmer specials, north specials, sherry specials, delicious salsa, the best salsa in Chambers County. Do not think about it, and also can meet the Chihuahua, Moneman number 3.
Farmers and Merchants Bank, established in 1934, is your friendly hometown bank with 3 convenient locations in Dadeville, Hughley, and beautiful Lafayette, Alabama. Farmers and Merchants is ready to serve your personal and business banking needs. Great rates, great service. Farmers and Merchants is ready to serve. Give them a call at 334-864-9941. Farmers and Merchants Bank, proud supporters of Chambers Academy.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to go into our next segment here with coaches here at the Chambers Academy Sports Live Coaches Show. We have Coach Dillon here tonight. Coach, welcome.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here, guys.
It feels like we haven't seen you in a while. We were talking about this earlier on. It just seems like the break was very long this time.
It was too long.
Ready to get back to play football?
We're ready to get back to it. Get back into a little bit of a routine. Everything's easier when you're in a routine.
That's right. Consistency, same thing
That's
over
correct.
and over.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to be consistent in everything we do.
Well, we came into this break, I think, just playing incredibly lights-out defense. Everybody seemed to be clicking. You seem to have an awful lot of real consistent play across, your linebackers and your secondary, all playing well.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I think Bessemer ran the ball against us better than anybody has all year. Just going back and watching it, they had success running the ball. But a part of that was my fault. Some of the stuff they were doing offensively, they were running the outside zone, which means they were trying to just reach us, and kind of like we do with our jet sweeps, Kareem and stuff like that. And I didn't do a good job preparing our guys for that. I didn't, really emphasize that as much as I didn't think they were going to do it as much as they did it. Because, usually I can go and look at watch film on teams, and I can see what they do offensively, and there's some stuff that I can just rule out. Like, that's not, that just based off our scheme, that's not going to work. So I don't even have to fool with it. And that was an instance where I didn't think that was going to be a problem for us. But it turns out it was. But on the other hand, we were doing some things wrong on the in the inside that we were able to adjust and You know, it wasn't a lot, but it was more than anybody.
Yeah, but again, the defense held that they bent, but they didn't
Yeah,
break.
that's right.
You know, and
That's right.
They
Great goal
may
line
have they may
standing.
have gotten, you know, some first downs on them, but they kind of kept their head high, but they did not, you know, give in.
Yeah, if we allow teams, if we make them sustain long drives on us, then we are extremely difficult to score on. You know, don't give up any big plays. Make them consistent. Get a first down after first down after first down, and the field shortens up for us.
Yeah, and that talk right there, you know, looks over at the stats, and you know, when you're only giving up 11 points,
Yeah.
that's amazing. You know, to see that, and this,
Yeah.
I can't. We talk. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Looking at these numbers, you know, can you look at the rest of the AISA and 2A? You know, Hooper is the only defense that's close to you guys, and they're not. You know, a wall like your team.
No, I
mean,
agree.
It's amazing.
The guys are firing on all cylinders defensively.
You know, I think back to the first quarter last week, and you know, we took the lead 6-0. It was 6-3. As we got going, I picked up on something you were saying about some of the adjustments.
Yeah.
I also thought we missed some tackles in the first. About half of the first quarter, we had a few missed tackles.
Yeah.
That's unusual for us.
It was. But like we said, we were kind of playing on our heels because we weren't in the right spot to begin with. You know, we were making tackles where we didn't expect to be having to make tackles just based off what they were doing.
And that changed really
And
severely.
what makes our defense so great is we don't rely on people having to make open field tackles alone.
Right.
You know, you watch some of the most impressive defenses in college. They got multiple guys to the football, and you know when the more you do that, the less chance there are that they break tackles.
Right.
You know, which is kind of something that Coach Allen has really helped. You know, making sure that we get a lot of guys.
Avoiding the guy out there on an island.
Yeah,
And
I
you
mean,
go in there,
you
and you
know-
may not make the tackle, but you can push him back into
That's
the
right.
pursuit that's right there, so
Yeah.
there's no big play.
That's correct.
Well, the thing that also was impressive to me is like we had an unusual thing. Corrine muffed a punt, which is very unusual. He's very sure-handed. And that ball got on the ground, and they picked it up. And I really thought that we probably were going to see them score because they had such good field position. And they're big guys and they're athletic. And next thing I know, we have the ball back basically where we put it on the ground.
yeah,
I had a big penalty, but the guys played really tough on the inside, and the running game got shut down on that drive.
Yeah, and like, you know, you're always excited to play defense, but when you have to get thrown out, that you know, after making a stop and
Right.
then having to go right back out there, that does something to you mentally. So for the guys able to kind of, you know, step up and bow up, and there was guys on the sideline that
Right.
don't, you know, that had to come right back into it and get right back into that mindset.
Yeah, they're over there trying to get a water, and you know, it's like, hey guys, back out there.
Yeah, that's frustrating. You know, I was probably already on the iPad looking through it, and you know, I hear that I can just tell by the crowd's reaction. You know, oh,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
You hear the noise all together. And,
Well, it seems to us as we watch this game and we try to get kind of a feel for the line of scrimmage, and that's certainly something I always try to think about on the offensive or defensive side. I thought in that first few minutes of the quarter, it was kind of a standoff, and then I think after the middle of the first quarter, they just began really controlling the line of scrimmage, and then it really got very obvious.
yeah, we're a physical bunch, man.
Yeah.
And that's something that we really take great pride in is you know, trying to assert our physicality early, and you know, the kids love it. You know, they play downhill, and that can really toll on you, you know, when you're getting whooped up front.
Well, this year, I mean, you know, when we've gone to different places and coaches have come up there to the press box, they are that's one of the first things they say, man, you guys play a different brand of ball.
Yeah, it
and,
is.
you know, we went to Crenshaw, and the guy was like, you guys are just tough.
And Crenshaw's a notoriously, you know, they're
Tough.
pretty roughneck
Yeah,
group.
exactly.
You know, they're
So
not.
to give you guys that kind of credit, that means a lot.
Yeah,
you know?
it means
so,
a lot. That's something that
Yeah.
you know that we try to instill in them, you know, early. You
Well,
know.
we've heard that in the press box twice from two different groups. Your guys really love to hit.
They do.
And,
They do.
And everybody hits. It's like, they really do.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's something that's kind of if you want to play, if you want to get you know, a lot of playing time, you better be physical because that's that's what we like to do.
On the resume, it must say physical,
Correct.
right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
so-
And that's probably the first and foremost thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what position you play.
Right.
It could be, wide receiver. It could be the defensive tackle. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Be the punter.
Absolutely.
You know?
We want somebody physical
Well,
out there.
there was a real example of that. I think it may have been midway of the first quarter. It may have been earlier than that. It looks like they're trying to run the ball, between the guard and the tackle, and Luke really thumped a guy. I mean, he really came in, and Smith was right there with him. But it was one of those that you remember. So I wonder, you taste a little blood in the back of your mouth after you make that hit, and you kind of know, like,
Oh, yeah.
that was salty. That was a hit.
Yeah.
And we had several of those.
Luke's pretty fun to watch. He's
he is.
He's a fun kid to coach. He's very he's got a lot of energy, and he really uses that energy to kind of hyper focus into what he's doing and he's a fun football player. I mean, I think pound for pound. I may have said this before, but he's one of the best football players in the state. There's nobody else in the state that weighs 150 pounds that can do what he does on a weekly basis.
You just said something that I think is really critical when you think about a player like Luke. Luke is not just like wound up and set free. I mean, Luke has that emotion, that energy, but he really does stay focused.
Oh, he
He's very
does.
disciplined with his play.
And what makes him so good, I think, is that he understands everything from a big picture. He's almost seeing it through, a younger coach's eyes. He can see, exactly what went wrong based off something. He knows what the line's supposed to be doing. He knows what the entire secondary is supposed to be doing. He knows where the linebackers are supposed to be. And
You don't see that most in high
No,
school
you
kids.
don't.
They're always focused on their play.
That's right.
And it's always like me
and we always try to tell them, like, you will be so much more successful if you understand it all.
And not just in football, in life too.
Correct.
So that
this is all about teaching them life
That's right.
lessons, and this is a great sport to do that.
If you remember our conversation with Jacob, one of the things that really impressed me when we were talking about him talking with him after the game, I talked to him about the play with he and Luke, and he said an incredibly, I think, important thing. He said, "We know they're younger guys looking at us. We know that our play
Absolutely.
really drives other players." And I just thought, Jacob, really, that's very astute. That's on point. And they seem to be feeding a lot on that. And, I know we needed a break. I know this is a scheduled break. I'm sure we would rather stop playing. I want us to come out and just kind of get right back on that train and start riding as hard as we can.
Yeah, let's go. We're ready.
Are you ready for tomorrow night?
Yeah, we're ready, man. We are absolutely ready. Going to get a little blast from the past. Not only with Mims, but kind of what he's doing offensively.
Sure.
He's running the single wing, which was famous, back in the early 1900s.
Have you had a good week of practice?
We have. For a homecoming week, it's been a great week, I think.
And you were talking about that, the distractions that go along with homecoming. I'm very glad to hear that. I wouldn't expect anything really different from our guys, and I think maybe this team understands that they're playing at a real different level,
Yeah.
and I think this is a special team.
Yeah.
I really believe that, and I look forward to us getting another region win tomorrow night.
Yeah, we are too. Our goal is just to win the next one. And as long as we keep doing that, we're going to be fine.
Well, hey, we'll be down there tomorrow night ready to cheer you guys on. Hope everybody comes out.
Absolutely.
Homecoming, come see your friends from the past. And we're going to see some friends from our past, on the other
Absolutely.
side. So
Should be fun.
it'd be a great time. Weather's supposed to be beautiful.
Yes.
And so let's have a good Friday night under the lights down there at Torbert Allen Field.
Yes,
Coach,
sir.
thanks again.
Thank you,
Always a
guys.
pleasure, man.
Yes, sir.
Good to
Thank
talk
you,
to you.
guys.
Thanks, man.
Thank y'all.
Folks, we'll be back in a second after some messages from our sponsors. Farmers and Merchants Bank, established in 1934, is your friendly hometown bank with 3 convenient locations in Dadeville, Hughley, and beautiful Lafayette, Alabama. Farmers and Merchants is ready to serve your personal and business banking needs. Great rates, great service. Farmers and Merchants is ready to serve. Give them a call at 334-864-9941. Farmers and Merchants Bank, proud supporters of Chambers Academy.
Craving some Mexican food? Do not think about it twice. Come visit us at Moneman number 3, located Highway 77, 1310 Highway 77, Lafayette, Alabama. We have the best Mexican food around. Cheese dip, quesadillas, farm special, North specials, Share Specials, delicious salsa, the best salsa in Chambers County. Do not think about it, and also can meet the Chihuahua.
All right, folks, we are back here at Chambers Academy Sports Live Coaches Show with Coach Jason Allen, brought to you by Farmers and Merchants Bank. So, Coach Allen, we missed you last week. I know you guys were resting up on the bye week, and so I didn't know what to do last Friday. I don't know about you. I was kind of lost a little bit. What did you guys do last Friday?
I hate bye weeks.
I knew you were going to say
I want to keep playing every Friday, but it was a good week. I thought it was one of the better bye weeks we've had in several years when we had them. We practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We took Monday and Friday off. We really got in the weight room really hard, and then we got back to some fundamental things offensively and defensively that, that are who we are, and you can never go wrong. Just continue to brush up on the fundamentals of the game.
Yeah, speaking of homecoming, we were talking about this. How is it hard to keep the kids focused during homecoming week with the distractions of all of the, stuff going on, the activities, and then homecoming game itself? Are those hard to coach games?
Some years it is. I think it depends on your team. Some kids handle it better. I feel like we're a veteran team. We've got some really good leaders, and we talk about it. We don't, we talk about how you handle success, how you handle outside noise, outside interference, and I think the kids have done a great job of when they get down to us at the athletic complex in the afternoon. They kind of get to reset. We take about 15 or 20 minutes and let them just kind of recharge and just relax, and then we'll get together, we'll pray, and we'll talk about what we're trying to accomplish that day. And they've done a great job. I think it's been a lot like every other week this year. They just really practiced well, and we had a really good practice Wednesday, a big defensive practice. So we'll see. You never really know about kids, but I feel like we've had some really good preparation.
As we were talking to Coach Kyle and Coach Dillon, I asked a question to both of them about do they expect any kind of rust or any kind of slowdown, and I don't think either one of them expect that, and I sense from what you're saying here, you're not anticipating that at all.
No, I don't anticipate that. The things that we emphasize every week are limiting our penalties and taking care of the football, not putting it on the ground.
Right.
And we worked on that in the off week. We work on that every week, work on that every day. So our team has become more disciplined since the beginning of the season. We lost the first game because of lack of discipline and turnovers.
Yep.
And it was a little better second game, but we've gotten better at that every game, and that's a sign of a good team that you figure out what's going wrong and you correct it.
Yeah, work on all the little things that are going wrong, fix them, and get better and better each time.
Yep.
Well, as we watch, from week to week, and we always say this to you and the other coaches, we are not coaches. We don't watch game film, but we watch the broadcast, and we try to communicate on a limited basis with some of the players. What I find from these guys is they are very focused. It seems like this team has a really good level of maturity and a great level of focus. And to me, it's like stronger than I can remember from last year, to be very honest, and it's been kind of increasing every week to me. How would you relate to that?
Yeah, I think they see that there's more on the line as the season goes, and with success, you start building confidence, and then you start seeing the bigger picture of, hey, if we do this, then this can happen. And so we got some young people that understand that. And, I've been pleased with them from that standpoint. Early in the year, I wasn't sure what kind of leadership we were going to have on our football team. We don't have a very big senior class, but we have a very good. They're all good leaders. Our junior class has some great leadership, and our sophomore class is well above average in that aspect. So that they don't have to be reined in a whole lot. They're pretty serious as well.
Well, it seems to me that this team has an understanding, and I think they might be able to see that it might be a really special team for us. It might be a team that can do some really important things. And I think they come out every week so far since the opening game, and they've really done the work, and they've not let, as we talked a couple times, they've not let adversity last into the next series or the next series. They've put their cleats in the dirt, and they've just gotten ready to play after something hits them bad, like the muff punt the other night. Very unusual for Kareem to drop that ball. We wound up stopping them and taking the ball over almost the exact same yardage we had when the ball was on the ground.
Yep. That was, that's a big mistake, and we've worked really hard this week on fielding punts with several guys. We've been putting a lot of traffic around them, just trying to get them to focus on catching the football, because I'm big on catching punts when you can, because a lot of times kids will let a punt hit and they'll lose 20 yards in a row, which is 2 first downs you got to get in that next drive. So, I'm all for catch the ball. If you don't get any yards, that's fine. Let's try to catch it. Unless you feel uncomfortable in a crowded situation or it's a low punt that you got to go a long ways to get.
Well, I think we've handled stuff like that really well. And just as we were talking earlier about the season, as we get to this next game and we go into these region games that are really critical for us to get ourselves in the right position, it just seems to me that our offensive line is playing at a very high level. The defensive line is playing at a very high level, and I know you feel how important those two things are. The line of scrimmage drives so much. But we also are seeing guys with the ball hitting people. I mean, just really bringing an aggressive mindset when they're carrying the ball. And I think that ripples back to that offensive line. I think they almost are saying, we know how tough you guys are. We're going to do it too.
Yep. Well, the line of scrimmage is the most important thing in football. You can never forget that as a coach or as a player. The line of scrimmage is who determines who wins the ball game. But when your offensive line is creating space and opening holes the way ours does, then our backs run with more confidence.
Right.
Because they feel like if they run really hard, they're going to get good yardage, And it's kind of discouraging if you're getting hit in the backfield if you're carrying the football.
Yeah, it probably is not as enjoyable as seeing those big holes on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. So luckily we have 2 really good backs that are feeding off each other, that complement each other really well, that are playing at a really high level. I haven't seen 2 backs. I haven't seen anybody with 2 backs like this that I've seen this year that are running this well. And then I think we're putting some other things together around it that are making it a lot harder to defend. You've got Kareem, who stretches the field from that sideline to that sideline in a run game, and we're getting down to the point where we're stretching the field that way, which is going to help even more. And then we've got a really good tight end and wing back. I mean, those guys are really unsung. Ryan Smith and Eli Horton are really just monsters over there on the edge, and nobody has had an answer for them to this point.
We try our best to mention those 2 guys because they do some things that a lot of people don't really see. That they don't kind of get the vision of how hard they're playing on the inside and how well they're blocking, how well they're managing their part of the game. And you're right. Those 2 guys are really strong guys, and they play with a lot of fierce attitude. They come at you.
Yep. We found out who we are the last 2 weeks, and I'm a slow learner. It took me a while, but I realized pretty 3 or 4 weeks ago that we were best with those 2 guys on the field, and it's made us really. To one side, we're a power run, physical, almost to I team. To one side, we're double receivers, we're a spread team. So we're kind of cutting the field in half, and we're saying what do you want to stop? You want to stop this, or you want to stop this, but you can't stop both.
Well, you said something really interesting last Friday night when we were Friday a week ago. We were talking about the touchdown pass from Cole to Kareem, and you talked about how Bessemer is trying to cheat a guy over, trying to get more action and bringing him closer on the off side, off Kareem.
Yep.
And the next thing you know, you got him one-on-one, and it's just you're not going to do really well with that.
Yeah, we ran the buck sweep to the left about 7 times in a row and they never adjusted. And then Kareem came over there and said, "Coach, they're not even covering me anymore. The safety's over there trying to stop the buck sweep." And I said, "Okay, all right." Well, we dialed it up right over there and just ran what we call smash, and he was wide open.
Oh,
in
it was
the corner.
beautiful. Pitch and catch. It was a
And
really,
we got to
really
get
good
we
play.
got to continue to do that. We got to throw the ball down the field more earlier, help ourselves, and we're progressing. It's just a trust thing for me, and
Right.
the hardest
Sure.
thing to do is to protect, throw, and catch. You got to do all three well for the passing game to work.
And, it's like we talked about many times, that offensive backfield with that offensive line is doing so many good things. I can see as a coach being a little bit hesitant to risk too much, but take advantage of the right opportunity. It seems like that's exactly what we did last week with that touchdown throw.
Absolutely.
it's
Well,
a
you
great
got to
play.
see the whole field as a play caller, and sometimes you can get kind of dialed in on one thing and not see the whole picture. But we were able to realize back over there to the two receiver side that they weren't sound in how they were lining up to us.
One of the things I was just going to mention from when talking to Coach Jackson, we had talked a lot about. I've asked him after a meeting the other night about the pulling of the guards. He gave me a great example. I want to talk a little bit more about that tonight. But the other thing I mentioned to him was how I really am impressed with the guards moving and getting downfield in front of running backs and not making stupid mistakes, not trying to block when it's not important to block. And, we've got guards who really get downfield and do a great job.
Our guard play is exceptional right now. We have a senior in Ryan Smith, and we have a sophomore in Drew Shepard who's playing it like a senior because they've both been doing that so long.
Right.
So that when you watch them pull, they step together in unison. You watch them, and their pad level stays low. A lot of linemen, when they come off the ball, their head goes straight up. Their head stays down. Their feet step together. It almost looks like synchronized swimming in the Olympics.
Well,
It's just all together. And, I've had several schools. Somebody was playing, they're getting ready to play Banks this week, and they said, well, if we could just run the buck sweep like Chambers, we'll be all right. And the coach I talked to, who's been coaching about 20 years, he said, we're not going to run the buck sweep like Chambers. He said, because them kids been doing it since kindergarten. Not that they can't do it, but what you're looking at is not a culmination this summer or
Right.
6 weeks of football.
Right.
You're looking at a culmination of a lifetime of football, the way they're playing.
And I think that's why, in my mind, you just see it. I mean, it's just so natural. It's so disciplined, and it's really great. It is so much fun for me to look up and see Smith in front of a running back or Drew running with a running back. It's
Yep.
just like
Yep.
these guys have great speed and they have
Yeah,
great discipline.
The play you were talking about, we were running down the left sideline, and they were 40, 50 yards down the field.
Downfield. And didn't make a wrong block. Moved away from the block when the running back went by him.
Correct.
Stopped.
Yep.
So, and I was telling Coach Jackson, I would have not given up. I'd have gotten a penalty on that. You'd have been
Well,
upset.
yeah, I understand, but those guys are disciplined players, and they understand that long run is not worth. It's blocking the back is not worth giving up that long run. Let us get tackled right there.
So tomorrow night, homecoming, how do you feel? I mean, coming out there, going up against Abbeville. Abbeville's bottom of the region. How do you get the kids pumped up for that? I mean, are you expecting just to go out there and throttle them, in the first quarter, or is it going to be something where, the kids may be distracted?
Well, I tell our kids every week we only get one night a week to show what we can do, and that's every Friday. It's not baseball. We're not going to play 2 or 3 games a week or basketball. We get
Right.
one chance, okay? So you got to make the most of that Friday night. These seniors, I've told them your senior year is halfway over
Right.
already, and you don't even, it went by like that.
It did.
So that's the way I look at it. It's another game. We've got to get better, and like I told y'all a couple of weeks ago, we're trying to climb a staircase to get to the top level so that we can contend for a state championship. That's
Absolutely.
our goal, number one.
And did we clarify 8? This would be our 8th
Eighth
region in a row if
yes.
we win this region again this year.
Currently 7 in a row, going for the 8th in a row.
And obviously that's where we want to go. I mean, we look at the standings. I was a little surprised to see Banks at 5-1. Their only losses to us.
Yeah.
So that was a little surprising. It's a little surprising to me that Hooper is 2-0 and in front of us just because we haven't played 2 games.
Right.
But I think we're going to be in good shape in the region. I think we can match up against anybody we play. And I know that we hear this from you. Win the region. That's what we got to do right now is play and win the region, and then we'll start playing those games.
Yeah, because I mean our number one goal is stay at home, and this started in 2016. We've won the region every year since 2016, which is just says a lot about our kids, about our program, what we've built here, the expectations we have, and the standard that we try to play to, and we talk about that every year. We want to play at home in the playoffs. We don't want to leave there.
Well, one of the things I think we see that standard. We talk about it a lot, but it's not just talk. You see it. I mean, we watch these kids come out and do, I think, incredibly good things. And I've told you this all year long. Certainly, it's increased in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I think this can be a very special team, and I look forward to us getting out there tomorrow night and just going about our business. Whoever they bring up, whatever schemes they run, we're going to play them, and we're going to do our job, and then we'll play from there.
Yeah, we'll see. We can't put the cart before the horse.
Right.
So, we got to keep our head down, and we got to keep getting better. Doesn't matter who. We've played for a lot of state championships and come up just short, and that's something that we don't want to happen.
Absolutely.
We don't want to happen.
Well, Coach, we'll be out there tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at Torbert Allen Field. Actually get there a little bit early. There's some activity starting at 6:30 on the field with some cheerleaders and some of the pregame activities. And then at halftime, they'll go through the homecoming festivities as well. But we'll be out there broadcasting live, 7 o'clock if you're in town. Come on down to the field and enjoy some good football. And is there anything you'd like to add before we sign off here?
As always, Chester, it's great to play for the CNEA.
Thanks, Coach.
Folks, we'll be right back in a minute from a word from our sponsor. Farmers and Merchants Bank, established in 1934, is your friendly hometown bank. With 3 convenient locations in Dadeville, Hughley, and beautiful Lafayette, Alabama, Farmers and Merchants is ready to serve your personal and business banking needs. Great rates, great service. Farmers and Merchants is ready to serve. Give them a call at 334-864-9941. Farmers and Merchants Bank, proud supporters of Chambers Academy.
Craving some Mexican food? Do not think about it twice. Come visit us at Moneman number 3, located Highway 77, 1310 Highway 77, Lafayette, Alabama. We have the best Mexican food around. Cheese dip, quesadillas, farm specials, north specials, sherry specials, delicious salsa, the best salsa in Chambers County. Do not think about it, and also can meet the Chihuahua, Moneman number 3.
All right, folks, and welcome back here for the last little bit here of the Chambers Academy Sports Live Coaches Show with Jason Allen. We appreciate the coaches coming in, Coach Kyle, Coach Dillon, and Coach Allen coming up. So ran a little bit long here this evening, but a lot of good information we got from the coaches and how they're going to prepare the team for a big homecoming night. And then as we get into some more region games and how they do things, the process in which they are working with those kids is amazing, and it's a treat. So you need to come out tomorrow night to Torbert Allen Field and celebrate some homecoming activities, and it'll just be a good time all around.
Well, I really enjoyed tonight talking with these coaches, all 3 of them. And it was like it's fun to sit down to talk with guys who will listen to your questions, and even though you may not know what you're talking about, they kind of help you get through that. And we have really great coaches here. They really take their time and they help us to better understand what's happening during the game. And I think they try to give us a very honest opinion of what the kids are doing. And I will tell you this, I will restate it until somebody proves me wrong. I think this is going to be a special team. I think it's got something going on from a fan, coaches, the athletes on the field, the momentum and the idea, and I anticipate us playing awfully well the rest of the year.
I agree with that as well. So, hey, we can't wait to get tomorrow underway. We're going to be down at the field a little bit earlier because of some pregame stuff. So come join us down at Torbert Allen Field. Chambers Academy, 7 o'clock is kickoff, 6:30 pregame activities start. But if you can't make it, always tune into us here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you click subscribe so you're notified when we are going live with games. So, hey, it'll be an exciting time tomorrow. So we hope to see you guys down there or here on YouTube. Folks, have a good night.
Thanks, Chester.